This is Yerushalmi Peah Daf Mem Vav Amud Aleph. Mem Vav. I'm starting with Amud Aleph. We got to the Mishnah Halacha Gimel, which is 5 to 5th line down, and in the Vilna, that is on page Chavav Amud Beis. Also the Mishnah Halacha Gimel. Ein megaglin b'tofiach, says the Pnei Moshe. More mashim miloshem mashke tofechi. There's a lotion of moisture, which is can make other things moist. Ein megaglin mayim begalgam in a bore. You can't raise water with a pulley from the well. Larbitz it's asor in order to water the field. Achte mashke tofech oleh. To the point that there's going to be moisture on the field. B'shah shanim boim, when the poor people come, b'shvil aleket, b'mnei shumeh hafsid hanim, hafsid hanim, because it cause a loss to the hanim. That's the B'rei B'meir. Chacham matir, chacham loudest. The Pnei Moshe says, "Neish efshel yoshumu hafsid al shanim." They can reckon how much hanim will lose. Tena ba'abais k'vi yashuma sheyashumalav. Ba'abais give according to reckoning that people they reckon la'anim to the poor people. I made this feel the emagavlim. Mayor holds that you don't use a pulley. Ba'abais circle rabbis to say whether the ba'abais must moisten his field. Shami and hafsid shalo. Then we do reckon the loss. Umanake min ha'anim. In other words, the other way around. The loss which he gets by not having water in his field, we take away from the name. So according to the Rabbanan, the Babai should water the field and reimburse the for the loss. According to Rameir, the Babai should not water his field and the Nanim should reimburse him for his loss. Okay, says Gemara, Tani Hamarabetz es Sadeu. Somebody who waters his field actually until before the name are able to go down for leket to get the matanos. If he's going to get more damage, then the ani will get damaged. Mutter, he's allowed to water his field. If the ani is going to get more damage than his damage, also is forbidden to water his field. You know, Mer Benkach Menichan ala Gader. Regardless, you put the leket shichem peah, whatever is on the fence, funny bov notel eshlo, and the poor person comes and takes whatever is his. In other words, you don't want to make the ani sustain a loss, so you remove it from the place where you're about to moisten the field, and you put it in the middle on a wall or something, so it's not going to get wet and ruined as a result. There seems to be a contradiction of Rabbi Yoshita. Talmud Omer, elsewhere he says, Perek Gimel, Perek Zayin Mishnah, Kashem Shumeida B'Shlokeinu Mishnah B'Shanaim. If you have to thin out your field in order for things to grow better, you would also thin out the stuff which belongs to the poor people. The Kol Marachain. And here he says not that way. Here he says no. You have to remove the ani stuff and put it in a safe place before you do your own field. So he seems to contradict himself. Says the Gemara, Taman heim gormalatzmon v'lobo. No, there they caused themselves a problem because they didn't come. In other words, presumably he's made it after the time when they had an opportunity to come already and collect. Let me just find this here, the Kavanaki. So it says Kavanaki explains that this is when the time of the Olos are already recognizable in the Gefalim. In other words, the malformed grapes or clusters. So therefore, the Anim going to come ready and gather their own, right? Because since at fair time out of time, we let him just thin out the grapevines, and he doesn't have to leave anything for the Anim on the fence in the middle. But here Harebo, here they came. In other words, in the case of the our Mishnah, the no, the case of our brisa. Oh, brisa Mishnah. It was where when you wet the field, you're preventing anyone from coming in. Because they wanted to come in, and they couldn't come in because you made the field wet. So therefore, that we require you, and before you make the field wet, to make sure to put the aniyim's due in a safeguard place. Both Mechavit does the Rabbanon. It seems to argue the Rabbanon seem to contradict themselves. Elsewhere, Taman by Merabates, wetting your field, which is at the beginning of the Gemara. You know what I mean? They say imizikum rabel sha'ani. If your loss is greater than Ani's loss, then you can water the field. The car, marachain. But here, in the by Merabates, they said he's allowed to. He's only allowed to do so. It's really he's only allowed to do so. Again, let's say basically. Taman, al shel ani. Not allowed to do so if his damage is greater than the ani. That's in the Brisa between the Gemara. The Kab in our Mishnah, it doesn't make a distinction like that, right? It says no matter what, you can moisten the fields. Taman Yevshar. So the Gemara answers in our Mishnah, let's say Taman Yevshar. I'm going to make sure I get this right. But Brisa, you can't, since you're Brisa, the way the Kavanaki explains it, it's not possible to pay the aniyim for their loss because they can't come into the field for a long time. So therefore, we're only allowed to do it if your damage is greater than the ani's damage. In our Mishnah, Chamim allow this because evidently, by Megalgalin is not the same amount of water as Merabes. And I didn't point that out before. I didn't realize, didn't think about that before. So Merabes is really irrigating. Megalgalin with Fiach is moistening. So therefore, in the Brisa, Merabes says so that you won't be able to come for a long time. So you have to only if your loss is greater than Niyam's loss do we actually let you do it. In the Mishnah, it doesn't matter if your loss is greater or not because Megalgalin field is just moistening the field, and since it's only moistening the field, the Niyam will be able to come back much sooner. Okay, so that's what he says there. Tamon Efshar. In the Mishnah, in the Gemara, the Brisa, Taniyim can't go back to it for a long time. But Mishnah, Efshar, you come back the next day. V'ha, and I'm sorry, I have to really say Gemara that this has been sorry. V'ha. Remeir ein megalgalin. So Remeir in our Mishnah says you can't water the field, right? B'shamin Baal Bayis Hafsedo, and if the Baal Bayis loses, okay, we reimburse him. So the Remeir, that's what Remeir said in our Mishnah. Rabbanan Amrim, and Rabbanan said, there's Benichusa this over here. So there. The Megalgalin, you do let him do the pulley and moisten the field. And he reimburse any for the hefsein. And that's basically quote for our Mishnah. So I'm going to go back here for a minute because I didn't read this on my Gemara before, and elaborating on when you go back and when you can't go back. So I think I don't know what I'm writing here. I think it looks like I'm calling the Mechal Maim. There's the main Moshe. I read it right. Says, but he says Tama b'mrabetz. If it's not possible to be marbetz only your portion, because the water is will spread over the entire field, but by Madel, not by Megalin B'Tfiach, but by Madel, you can you can distinguish. Okay, so you learn differently. In other words, the way we learned before by the differences between Megalin and Merabetz. So by Megalin you can do it because it's not the same loss for Naniyim. They wait a day or two, whatever. By Merabetz can't do because they're not be able to go in the field a long time. Therefore, you can't cause them a substantial loss. The way the Pnei Moshe, I think it's Pnei Moshe, is saying this. Yeah, the way he learns it between me. He says, according to Rabban, this is the way he learns it, going back a line. Tam on Efsha by made by Merabates, you can't repay the Aniyim because you can't know exactly what how far your water is going to go, what's going to prevent it from doing. But Bara Mahacha Efshar means by Madel, it's possible to assess what you deprived Aniyim of, and therefore you'll be able to repay them. Okay, that is the Pnei Moshe. So I like the Kavanaki better, but the Pnei Moshe also works out. And then we say we're quote basically from our Mishnah, the statements of Rabban Rav Meir, and we say when you reckon the loss you caused Aniyim, who are you paying for that? You pay that to the poor people of that city. The low cane manu amrin. Well, makes it's partial, right? Otherwise, you're going to pay. Amray b'chia barada lemida sadin nitzrecha. We need it for Minasin always in the Yerushalmi means for halach of chosh and mishpat, and Rabbi Yosef Engel says here that means that to teach us chosh and mishpat that if you did give aniyim of another city the reimbursement, we take it away from them because it's supposed to go to aniyim of that city, not aniyim of the other city. According to according to the Ritbaz and the Kavanaki, it says here the Miyum Mishalem is going to something else altogether. Kamis in the Kamar Alocha Dalit. It's going to the next Mishnah. Balbaisha over in Makom, but somebody Balbait's going from place to place and he has no money, no provisions. He's allowed to take Lek and Shechel and pay. When he takes it, okay, but when he gets home, he has to reimburse. Who's he reimburse? He reimburses the Aniyim of his own city, even though he didn't take from them. No, the city from which he took it. Right. He gives back to the city from whence he took Leket Shechem Peah, the Matanos, and it's coming to tell us Midas Sadin that this is really Midas is very convoluted, but really right about is it really Midas Sadin according to strict letter of Chosh Mishnah, you're part to pay, part from paying, because at that time you were considered to be an ani, and you are chaya, and so that which you have to pay is only latzi sedei shamayim. I'm not sure how we fit into the word soglat, but that is how they. Evidently, Rashi really also learns that way. Chasam Sofer says at the bottom of the page in the Vilna was Mihada Matu Shai Midas Adin Di Midas Chasi Chol Shai L'Chol Ani Shiyotze. That's from the Meforesh, not Chasam Sofer himself. In other words, Midas Adin is that pay back the daf could go back to that city and not to any ani, which would be the case. It was Lifni Mishur Sadin. Okay, But he discusses the Chazal Service has bring evidence for that. He says, yeah, basically he gives a similar shot. Okay, so we're up to Halacha Daled. And says Halacha Daled, Baal Bayis, show over Makam. Baal Bayis come from place to place. Tzarich to Yerushalmi Peah, he's out of money, has to take Yerushalmi Peah, my son, Shachs the base to Yerushalmi. When he goes back home, he has to pay up. Tiv Rabbi Eliezer. Does he pay back? And according to Ridbaz, the previous Gemara is telling us, according to Ridbaz in the Kavanaki, pays back to be with that city from where he took the Lech and Shechem Peah. Tiv Rabbi Eliezer. Unable to show. He doesn't have to pay back because he was an ani at that time. Amachliv imanim b'shalo plater b'shanim chayv. If you switch with aniyim, grain for grain, then whatever you have is part of Shumas and Maisis because it was originally like a Shechem Peah. Whatever aniyim get is chayv because it originally was not like a Shechem Peah. Shnayim shkibu soze barisos, 2 people accepted field for sharecropping. Zeno saying lezechel, and they're both poor. Zeno saying lezechel ko ma'aser but Zeno saying lezechel ko ma'aser. Each one gives the other one is ma'aser ani because each one is poor. Hamkasa liktor, somebody who receives a field to harvest. Also like a shechem peah ma'aser ani. You can't take like a shechem peah ma'aser ani from it. It looks too fishy. Rabbi Yehuda said, "Hey, Moshe Mitzvah man shekilim man mechsa shlisha via." That's when he accepted it on a percentage basis, half, third, quarter. In other words, then he has ownership interest in the field. But if he told them that a third of what you harvest is yours, you're allowed to have take because it's not really yours. You don't have of ownership interest in the field, so they ever take lech and shechem peah from it. But now take from ma'aser ani because ma'aser ani is already from the grain for which is meshubah to you, and therefore again it's shlish mash l'kotzer since the heart comes from the harvest, and so therefore whatever comes to harvest he has a portion in it, and therefore he can't take the ma'aser ani from that field. All right, I believe that brings us to the bottom here, and even to the top of Mem Zayin Ralph. So we will stop here for today.